Hello students, myself Mrs. Charu Kohli, your economics teacher. Today we are going to start with the first chapter of statistics class 11th. According to NCERT, the chapter's name is Introduction. It is related to the concept of economics and significance of statistics in economics. Therefore, the topic is Introduction to Economics and Statistics. The subject matter of this chapter is divided into 4 parts. First, Introduction to Economics. In this, we will study that why economics is important. Second part, Introduction to Statistics. Third part, Scope of Statistics. Fourth part, Functions and Importance of Statistics. Today, we will take a look on the first part of economics, that is Introduction to Economics. We will study about economics and then we will come on to statistics and study the significance of statistics in economics. To begin with, here is the definition given by one of the founders of economics, and the person is Professor Alfred Marshall. According to him, economics is the study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. Here, the word mankind is important as it is related to human beings, and it is also explains the content of ordinary business of life. It is the day-to-day activities which are performing in anybody's life. It is a part of economics. How? We will come and we will understand and take a look on it. Now, human beings. Every human being when takes birth, he is a child or an infant. And whenever a child takes birth, he begins with certain activities. And the activities performed by child are crying, after that starting crawling, after that walking, then trying to speak, talking, and as the child grows up, his various activities increases and begins with. After that he starts studying, he starts talking, he starts studying, he starts playing, and he grows up with his school life. He studies the various parts of school life and he then enter into the vocational courses, and then he comes up and become a senior and a young person. And later on he enters into a job, and after that he works till his retirement age, and then he rests and as the life of person goes on. This study of a human being was related to the activities which are performed by every human being. So when we classify these activities of human being, they are classified as the 2 parts, the economic activity and the non-economic activity. Means whatever the activities are performed during the lifetime of a human being, they can be economic in nature or they can be non-economic. Economic activities are those activities which are done for earning money. That is, they are concerned for earning money. Any activity which you perform which will fetch you money is an economic activity. Activities performed by lawyers, doctors, businessmen, teachers, the sellers, the wholesalers, retailers, they are part of business. All activities are economic in nature. Coming on to non-economic activities. Non-economic activities are not done for earning money. They are done for social welfare. Here, the activities which play a role as charity, as donations, as giving assistance to someone, they are non-economic in nature. Suppose you have your friend and you are helping your friend in preparing the notes. So you are not going to charge from that friend. So that is a non-economic activity performed by you. Non-economic activities comes under this head. Then at a certain time, the certain activity can be economic at one time and non-economic on the other hand. Let us take the example of your mother. Mother or a housewife, she works at home and she is preparing food and teaching the children. If she is teaching her own children at home, she is not charging. So the activity performed by her is non-economic. But when the same activity is performed by the same person in a school, she is teaching, then she fetches income. So at that time, that activity will be economic in nature. So any activity which is performed by a human being in his day-to-day life, that can be divided into economic or non-economic. Let us understand these activities in one more example form. Now when we talk about a person, and a person is buying a particular product, we all are consumers, we go to the market and buy the products. To what role we are playing at different times? What role we are playing at different times, that we are going to study. So when we are going out to buy a particular product, at that time we are a consumer. We are a consumer. And the person from whom we are purchasing the product, the person from whom we are purchasing the product, that person can be a seller or can be a producer. So at a time, person can be a producer, a seller, or when he buys a product, he can be a consumer. Coming on to other hand, if you as a person is working under someone and you are getting wages or salaries for your job or for your work which you are performing, so at that time you are a service holder. At that time you are a service holder. And suppose you are giving work to someone, means somebody else is coming to you and is working under you. So at that time you are going to be a service provider. These are the different roles which are performed or played by the human beings. So what are these? These are the activities which every human being performs in the ordinary business of life, in day-to-day working. So these activities, all of them, they fetch money. So they all are the part of economic activities. And in simple sense, economics is the study of economic activities. So in simple sense, when we define economics, it is the study of economic activities. Now, coming on to the next part, that is the concept of scarcity. Now, moving on to the needs of the consumers. You all know we are consumers and we all know our needs. Now, our needs are too much. We need to buy lots and lots of things. These are our desires. But we have the capability to buy all the goods? No. Why we don't have the capability to buy all the goods? Because the means in our hand is limited. Now take an example. The example, it is given in your book also. The example of Aladdin. Everybody knows about the person Aladdin. Aladdin has got a lamp. When he rubs that lamp, the genie appears, and whatever Aladdin wants, he asks from the genie. Genie fulfill his all needs. But that time, Aladdin has got that lamp. We all have lamp. Today if we talk about anybody has got lamp, so that we can ask for one genie and our all needs will be completed. No, we don't have the genie and we don't have the lamp from which that genie will come out. Today we have to complete our resources, our desires. We have to satisfy our desires with our means only. And the means which we have in our hands, they are limited in nature. Fine. So now wherever the limited means will be there, concept of scarcity will arise. Why? Because the state of having a shortage of supplies, the state of having a shortage of supply, that is called scarcity. That situation means we want more things, but we have limited means. Where the word limited will come, that will give the appearance, the image, that will give the starting point to scarcity. Now, another definition. In economics, we study scarcity in different form. Scarcity is the situation where demand is more than supply. Here D is for demand and S is for supply. So where demand is more than supply, that situation is called as scarcity. And here something is written that is even at a zero price. Means when the price of the product is zero, at that time also scarcity arises. Means we have limited means to fulfill our unlimited wants. That is scarcity. But that goods which we are purchasing, the wants which we are fulfilling, they have a price. But this scarcity also arises when there is a zero price. this scarcity arises. Now take an example of a zero price scarcity. Now you all are aware of dispensaries. We have various dispensaries, and where most of the people, they get all the medicines free of cost. They don't pay for that. But when you go to those dispensaries, a long queue is there. Means the demand for those medicines are very high, and the supply which is coming from the inside is very less. Means the number of medicines cannot fulfill the needs of all the people standing outside. So where at that time people are not paying for those medicines, that is a condition and a state of zero price. So scarcity may arise for the products or the needs where price is there or where price is not there. Now when we take a look to this process, we have unlimited wants. Limited wants, to fulfill limited wants, we have limited means, that is money in our hands is less. Then what happens? Scarcity will arise, obviously. And when scarcity will arise, this will give birth to economic problem. An economic problem, it is the problem of choice. Means you get your pocket money and you get your 1,000 rupees of pocket money. With that 1,000 rupees, you can buy anything you feel like. But if the price of that product in the market is more, then what will you be able to buy that? No. Suppose you are going to buy a dress for that, and in the market you have dress of 500, you have dress of 1,000, you have dress of 2,000, and you are liking the dress of 2,000, but you don't have that money. So what you will do? You will make a choice and you will purchase that product which comes within your means. That is, you will purchase the dress of rupees 1,000. So this problem of choice, the economic problem, is the basic problem in economics, and every activity performed under economics has the concept of scarcity. So we can say the scarcity, one more thing if I can say, is that if scarcity is not there, then economic problem will not arise. Economic problem will not arise. So economic problem only gives birth to economic activities. So scarcity is a very important concept in economics. I hope you have understood this concept. Coming on to the next part, that is the types of economic activities. These economic activities are divided into 5 types. First, the production, consumption, exchange, distribution, and investment. We have the fifth economic activity, that is investment. Now, production. Production is done by the producer. Producer is the person who converts inputs to outputs. Producer is the person who converts raw materials to finished goods. So what is the production? Production is the process in which inputs are converted to outputs. Or we can say it is a process in which raw materials are converted to finished goods. And why the producer produce? Producer produces various goods and services to earn maximum profit. The main part of the person to produce goods is to earn maximum profit. This is the concept of production. Now coming on to the second concept, that is the concept of consumption. Consumption is undertaken by a consumer. As you all know, consumer is a person who consumes various goods and services. Then what will be the consumption? Consumption is the process in which various goods and services are consumed. Only we have entered the word process in place of person to come up with the definition. Now why the consumer? What the consumer do? Consumer consumes various goods for maximum satisfaction. This is the main aim, for maximum satisfaction. So this is the main aim of the consumer, as main aim of producer was to earn maximum profits. Coming on to the third one, that is exchange. Exchange of goods related to exchange of goods for money. That is a process in which you give something and you get something in back. So you will give goods and you will gain income in place of that. That completes the transaction. So this transaction, monetary transaction, is called as exchange, and it is also an economic activity. Coming on to the fourth part, that is distribution. Distribution is of two types. First, distribution of products. Whatever the goods and services are produced by the producer, they are useless until and unless they will reach the ultimate consumers. So distribution of products to ultimate consumers is first part of distribution. Second part of distribution is distribution of income. That is distribution of factor income in form of rent, interest, profit and wages to factors of production. And factors of production are land, labor, capital and enterprise. I hope you have understood this concept. Coming on to the fifth part, investment. Investment is the process of capital formation. It is also an economic activity in which money is invested, and the motive to invest money is to earn more. So investment is the process of capital formation. We write this like this: I is equal to delta K. Here I is investment, delta is represents change, and K is capital. You can say capital stock. So investment is the process of increase in capital stock or change in capital stock. So these are 5 forms of economic activities which take place in the economy. So economic activities are very important for the basic concept of economics. I hope you have understood the basic concept of economics, and to sum up with the entire concept, economics is a social science. It is related to the economy and the people. It deals with the study of human behavior, that is mankind's behavior of a mankind in the society, in the process of consumption, production, exchange or distribution. These are economic activities of goods and services with the given resources, and everything which is used under economics, under performing economic activity, that is on the basis of given resources. So this is the concept of economics. I hope you all have understood. Thank you.